Me and my husband first came to Dubai as tourists. It was in April 2014 and it was just a 5 days vacation. We stayed in a budget hotel in Deira, nothing fancy at all, but somehow we fell in love with the city. Later the same year, my husband went to a job interview with a Dubai-based airline. Just out of curiosity. Back then, some UAE companies often held recruitment events abroad. We are from Belarus and the interview took place in Minsk, in the city where we lived. He went to the interview with zero expectations, just to see how hiring works in a well-known company. It was an office-based call center role, not a cabin crew position. A couple of months later, he received an email that he got the job. It felt so risky, but we decided to quit our current jobs and move to Dubai. Let me add a bit more context about our life at that time. We were newly married. We graduated from university about a year and a half earlier. I worked as a copywriter in a marketing agency and my husband worked at the airport. I think that this airport experience really helped my husband to get his first job in Dubai. As soon as we knew he was accepted, I started looking for a job in Dubai as well. I got an offer from a hotel after a couple of online interviews. It was the position in the hotel gym. I don't even remember the exact title now. The job required me to fly to Dubai as soon as possible, even earlier than my husband, and I wasn't ready to start this process alone. At 24, it was a bit scary for me, so I declined the offer. On top of that, the salary was quite low, and I decided to look for a better job after moving. Spoiler, I never really went back to the traditional employment after that. But that's a story for another video. The whole timeline looked like that. April 2014, our first vacation in Dubai. Autumn 2014, my husband attended the interview. December 2014, he got an email that he was accepted. And in March 2015, he finally moved to Dubai. I moved in May 2015 because I had to wait for my documents. I need to mention that his first job wasn't highly paid, and my plans to find a better job didn't work out. I still don't understand how we survived financially back then, but for us it was a unique chance at least to try to change our lives. Our life in the UAE wasn't easy at all, especially during the first 5 years. We lived in tiny studio apartments in areas we didn't really like. The apartments were far from being cozy and we constantly had unexpected expenses and bad experiences with these apartments. We even had a flood in one of them while we were on vacation. This flood ruined many of our things, including my laptop I used for work. And that's just one example. After our first year, we even had to move to Sharjah, an emirate very close to Dubai, because rent in Dubai was too high for our budget and Sharjah was more affordable. But I didn't really enjoy that part of our life. For long periods, I felt depressed and emotionally exhausted. At some point, I even wanted to go back home as I didn't feel that we could really improve our life here. All these changes and challenges were much harder for me than I expected. And now, looking back, I often ask myself, was it really worth it? Would I be able to go through all of this again, knowing how it felt? Honestly, I don't know, but I'm still living in Dubai after all these years. And that probably means that there are some reasons that keep us here, right? First of all, even during the hardest periods, we had a lot of happy moments. One of the most valuable things was traveling. As my husband worked for an airline, we had access to affordable flight tickets. Without that opportunity, I don't think I would have visited such places as Rio de Janeiro or Shanghai. Earlier this year, there was a trend on Instagram when people looked back at their lives in 2016. And when I look back at my 2016, I see Poland, Lithuania, the Netherlands, Monaco, Austria, all this while living in the city that is a dream destination for so many people. I didn't travel much before moving to Dubai, so I'm really grateful that in my late 20s I had the opportunity to explore so many parts of the world. But after some time, I noticed that I felt truly happy only when I was visiting other countries or when I was traveling back home. In other words, I was happy only when I was outside Dubai. And that felt strange. Both me and my husband realized that the way we were living in the UAE wasn't really working anymore, especially when we tried to imagine our future in this country. We couldn't go with the flow and just hope that life would improve on its own. So we had to change our mindset. We saw so many people with different backgrounds building their lives in this country the way they wanted, and it made us believe we could try as well. Our turning point was when we finally moved to the area and apartment where we live now. It happened in 2020 and it wasn't something extraordinary. But for the first time in our UAE life, we felt comfortable in our everyday life. From that moment, things slowly started to shift, and we believed that we can grow here and build a better life. Before moving to Dubai, I really idealized life here, especially after our first trip in 2014. Back then, I really thought that beautiful fountains and never-ending sunshine would be enough to make me happy. But being a tourist and actually living in Dubai are two very different experiences. I didn't understand the real cost of living here. I underestimated how a new environment could affect my emotional state. I also didn't do enough research before moving. And now it's even a bit embarrassing to admit that 10 years ago, my head was full of illusions and common stereotypes about life in Dubai. We made so many mistakes in our first years, but I don't blame us. We were really young, and at least we were brave enough to try something new. I don't want to give any relocation advice in this video, but I encourage you to do at least some basic research, just to understand how much money you might need for your first weeks and months here, especially if you are moving with your family, as such expenses as school fees, insurance, car loans can be higher than you expect. What I really love about living here is that Dubai expands your sense of what's possible. This place offers countless opportunities. You just have to find your own way to reach them. Some people do it from day one, while others need years. Of course, not everyone becomes happy and successful even after many years of living here. Unfortunately, there are no guarantees. I also love that there are so many lifestyles you can try here. Love restaurants, beach clubs, shopping malls? No problem, there are a lot of them. If you prefer a calm environment, you can live in a family-friendly community far from city noise. And enjoy your mornings walking alone somewhere among trees and townhouses like I do. If you are into fitness, you can rent a bike, find a gym, or join a running community. There are so many options. People often say that Dubai has no soul, just glass and concrete. And I completely disagree. You just have to look a little deeper and sometimes drive away from popular locations. We moved to Dubai planning to stay for 2 or 3 years, save some money and go back home. But life had other plans, the world changed, We changed. Many people came here temporarily but stayed for many years. Sometimes I still ask myself, would I feel happier somewhere else? After 10 years in the UAE, I still live in a rented apartment and haven't reached so many of my goals. But I've created a space where I feel safe and comfortable. Is that enough? Even a year ago, my answer was absolutely yes. But after turning 35 just 4 months ago, new doubts started to appear in my mind. So now I'm in the phase of reevaluating our life here and deciding what should we do next. Do I regret moving to the UAE 10 years ago? Absolutely no. Is there a chance that we might move to some other place? Most probably. Thank you for watching today's video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more content about life in Dubai. After all these years, I have so many thoughts and so many stories to share.